essentially no two users have the same experience in Plansight, but you get to customize it for what your agency does
Mm.
and wants. But I was actually on a call with somebody just yesterday. It was a very small brokerage out of, I think, Virginia.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they were excited about is they know and have heard of some of the large national brokerages that we work with. And these are the people that they compete against. And they're excited about the fact that, hey, we get some of the benefit of the feedback that comes from these larger brokers that we're competing against. And we're working in the same workflows and the same processes. So even the small little suggestions that come from the small boutique brokers that say, hey, we really have to have this kind of thing work, it's something the large agencies can use or not, but all those things get shared. So it's like a brain trust of all the way from the largest to the smallest brokerages around the country.
Welcome to Benefits Broker Boost, the show that gives employee benefits brokers practical strategies to grow, scale, and streamline their business. Presented by Plansight, where innovation meets efficiency in employee benefits. Now, let's dive in.
All right, Steve, as product leader here at Plansight, walk us through some of the changes that users have seen over the last 2 years and how those are enhancing the lives and workflows of our customers.
Well, you hit on one word right there. You said workflows. So over the last couple of years, we've introduced some really dedicated paths and workflows. We've been building this product and customizing it based on customers' needs. And hey, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. We built all these features that people needed, but sometimes it was difficult for them to know how they all connected or put them down a path. So one, it's been the workflow, really guided, dedicated workflows where you would have a hard time getting lost if you tried. And two, I mean, obviously the most significant thing, and I think the most significant thing that everybody's seeing, period, in technology is AI and the ability to read and extract these quote documents, pull the data out, because data entry has been, one of the toughest things in the industry for years. Now with AI, that's significantly cutting the time down from what people had to do or have to do.
Awesome. Yeah, we got a quote from someone that had looked at Plansight, I think 3 years ago is what the rep was telling us. It came through this morning. You may have seen it or not yet, but they were saying, "How this has come so far since we've seen it last. Really wish we'd seen this before we went with
So do I.
someone
Yeah.
else." But yeah, that's the feedback that we hear pretty much every time someone gets in that hasn't been in for a couple of years is I've really thoughtfully put together how the workflow happens, taking out the bottlenecks, the pieces that are very time consuming, streamlining those pieces. So yeah, it's great as a product leader that you've thought through all those things and gone from developing each piece individually to where someone could kind of build it into their workflow to just going through the complete workflow.
If you'd seen Plansight in the past, it's unrecognizable. It's a totally different animal.
Okay, Steve. So you were a broker for 20 years before starting Plansight. A little over 20 years, but
25,
okay,
25 years.
25
Yeah,
years.
yeah. I
So
don't
you
wanna,
had a lot of experience in the industry before starting Plansight. Do you ever finish a release or finish wrapping up a piece of the product and just think to yourself, man, I really wish I had that in my 25 years as a broker?
well, it definitely would have helped while I was a broker, but you asked the question, you ever look back at the end of a release? Sometimes I look back at the end of a release and I think, man, I wish I'd realized this 2 years ago, not only 20 years ago to use it, but even the evolution of the software. I mean, obviously hindsight's pretty easy. You go, oh, should have thought of that before. But yeah, definitely would have helped me. I don't know if the world was ready for it 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but as we evolve, it just gets smarter and smarter.
How are you balancing pushing the limits of technology while still making things easy to use, user friendly for all of our users within our system?
What? I mean, that's just it. What's going on behind the scenes and what we're able to do with this AI, it's incredibly complex and incredibly powerful. And I even, work with our AI team and I feel like conversationally they're 30 minutes ahead of me every time. These guys are so bright, so smart, and what they do is absolutely amazing. But what we need to do is simplify it so that the user isn't confused by it. They understand exactly what our software is doing and helping them make easy decisions. We just inject it into their workflow. So it's not really like, oh, we have to think about all this AI stuff. We just think, well, part of my job's already done.
Hmm.
And it's just part of the workflow. Just make it simple.
Yeah, that's the magic, right?
Yeah.
Is if they have to try to operate all of that technology, that's when things can get confusing. Like, well, now I got to go do this, and then bring where this is the next step in my workflow. Oh, the technology already did that
Yeah,
for me.
it's
Here it
done.
is.
I don't have to think about how it did it, but it did it.
So, Steve, you've got a pretty unique connection as a product leader to all of our customers. You know, I've worked at a lot of technology companies, and it's pretty rare to see a product leader that knows most of their customers by name because they are consistently working with them, consistently taking feedback from them. Is there anything in the product right now that you can pinpoint and say this feature or this thing is from a customer that called me up and said, "Steve, I need this in the software."
Gosh, to pinpoint one thing, I would almost say everything. I've got a lot of power users that they have my cell phone number. So we're texting, we're talking about, we hold regular powwows. So a lot of it is very customer driven. There's a lot of complex things that happen. But I think the thing that maybe I've gotten mostly from the customers and the feedback is it's the workflows that have to be simplified because, you might have the 20-year veteran that's very, very focused on the mechanics of self-funded
Mhm.
and how all that works and how we put all that together. But they also have team members that are 3 months in the industry and they need a workflow that's simple. Yeah, a lot of the complexities are definitely customer driven, but the simplicity in the workflow is kind of what we hear the most is as long as you can make it so my people can get up and running and usable quick and we can train new people on it. It's really at workflow because it's a mission critical process. You have to do that. You have to send RFPs. You have to present renewals. You have to compare quotes. And we want an easy workflow to get people from A to Z
Mm.
really, really quickly.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the biggest feedbacks that we get as well. The workflow is so simple, but to make a workflow so simple is not simple.
No,
It
that's
takes
not.
it takes a lot of feedback, and that's where I said you're unique in that. I think as a product leader, in every time someone onboards, walk us through your workflow, show us how you're using it, watching how they're using it, watching where they get stuck, simplifying that and building that in the product has brought Plansight a long way in the last few years. And anyone that gets in the software will tell
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's trial and error. It's a lot of hard lessons that has gotten us to the place where we are now. But we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are without that constant feedback loop from the customers.
exactly.
So we love them.
Okay, Steve. So I've heard you say several times the broker should be a consultant, not a data entry clerk. And PlanSight is allowing them to do that. It's giving your team back hours per RFP and renewal. So, as someone that's been in the industry for a long time, what do you feel like agencies need to focus on to get the most out of that saved time?
Gosh, well, I mean, it's all relative too, because there are the large agencies that have the teams that just do that, and they have the producers out delivering the quotes. Or there's the small boutique agencies where you've got the users and plan site that they do everything. They send the RPs, they manage the quotes, they go do the presentations. We had a podcast or a webinar the other day where Whitney, one of our power users, said she single-handedly managed 178 groups, which I think is wild. Um, I never did anything like that in my career, but with PlanSight, she was able to do it. But yeah, they're able to get more done quicker.
Mhm.
So either you could focus on adding additional lines, which, we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers. It's really easy when we have their dental and vision already. Oh, we want to add worksite. We want to add life. I also think it gives you a lot more time to service the customer and be more of a consultant, spend more time building a strategy with them, a long-term vision with them, or it gives you more time to, instead of just being a numbers bot, spending all your time building spreadsheets, you have more time to study the industry, learn the trends, what's going on, what's coming down the line, rather than I've just got to get these spreadsheets built so that we can get them presented. But if you're not learning where the industry is going and it's evolving, and you don't have time to do that, because that's the number one thing that we all need more of is time.
Mhm.
And PlanSight can give you more time to spend it either nurturing that relationship, planning strategy with your customers, getting more customers,
Mhm.
or just learning about the business. These are the things that I would focus on as a broker.
Yeah, I love that. Sometimes I'll boil it down for people and I'll say, PlanSight's going to save you time. The benefit that you get from Plansight depends on what you decide to do with that time.
Yeah.
Right. If you've got more customers wanting to work with you than you have team members available, that's an easy win because now you can take the customers on and save the time for RFP and renewal, manage that more tightly, and now you've got a bigger book of business. If you don't, then you've got to figure out, okay, what can these people who are saving time do to help grow that book of business? Like you said, I think Whitney, when I was talking to her, said she grew that book of business, the 178 accounts, by over 30% in the year that she did it by adding additional products, right? So that was one thing where she saved the time and added the additional products. So that's another thing people could be doing. Or if you're trying to build a smaller boutique agency that needs to get some, grassroots marketing up and going, it's a good thing to think about,
Yeah.
okay, what can we be doing with social media in this saved time, right? So it's really, don't invest in Plansight unless you know what you're going to do with the additional time. If you need more time right now, great. It's an easy investment. If you're not time constrained, then it may not be the right solution for you right now. But as soon as time becomes a constraint and you need more of it and you need to be doing more things as an agency, that's when Plansight is
But you always need more time if you want to grow too.
yes,
Yeah. And
exactly.
let's not forget, it's nice to have time to spend with our families.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, Steve. So Plansight customers span top 5 agencies nationwide, all the way down to 3, 4 broker shops. How does having both types of customers as a product leader change the way that you're thinking about and building product?
That's a good question. And I think it comes down to we've made the system very configurable. So we might be dealing with very small boutique brokerage and they have a very specific thing that they really like to do. And so we build it so that they're able to manage that type of process. But we also make it configurable so there are certain things or attributes that one guy might love and one guy might not like it. So we build it so that it can all be customizable. Like essentially, no two users have the same experience in Plansight, but you get to customize it for what your agency does and wants. But I was actually on a call with somebody just yesterday. It was a very small brokerage out of, I think, Virginia.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they were excited about is they know and have heard of some of the large national brokerages that we work with. And these are the people that they compete against. And they're excited about the fact that, hey, we get some of the benefit of the feedback that comes from these larger brokers that we're competing against. And we're working in the same workflows and the same processes. So even the small little suggestions that come from the small boutique brokers that say, hey, we really have to have this kind of thing work, it's something the large agencies can use or not, but all those things get shared. So it's like a brain trust of all the way from the largest to the smallest brokerages around the country.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really great example, and something that I've seen as well is the configuration on the back end that feeds the workflow is where kind of all of those differentiators come into play.
Yeah.
Right. You can say, okay, I want my output to look like this, or I want this piece of the software to function like this, and you set that on the back end, and now the workflow functions that way. And that's really good insight that both can benefit from what the others are doing well,
Yeah.
right? It's not, well, they've got it all figured out. I think anyone would admit they don't have it all figured out. And there's probably some things as you're walking through with some of these top 5 agencies and you're like, well, so this is an option. And they're like, oh, that's actually a really great idea. Where vice versa, like you said, some of the smaller agencies are really excited to get some of the workflow efficiencies that have come from those top 5 agencies.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Awesome.